Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Motion Picture Meltdown. I'm your host, Stephen the Roast Rosenberg, along with my two co-hosts, Mark the Shark Hinton, and Fat Collins.
What's up?
You'll never not be Fat Collins now.
It's permanent.
It's forever.
What if it was a curse?
I liked Bill the Kill Collins way better.
What if it was a curse, and every time I called you Fat Collins, you gained 10 pounds?
Ooh,
Well,
God,
I'd probably be pretty fat.
like the reverse of Stephen King's Thinner.
Yeah.
He's just walk up to him, rub his face, fatty.
Yeah. But with a PH.
Yeah.
You become more and more fatter.
Ooh.
Fatter, so I'll become cooler.
Oh,
Yes.
not really.
Like
You put out a rap album.
Who created that? Man, that's fat.
Pretty hot and tempting. It's what it stands for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When did that come about?
In the 90s.
I know it was in the 90s, but who coined that?
I don't know. Someone not important. Someone not important.
You know what else is not important? Who coined that?
Oh, okay.
That's, yeah.
Well, to get everything out of the way, you can find us on Twitter at MPM Podcast. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Unitedcypher.com to stream our episodes and look at pretty pictures from the movies. And
They're not pretty.
they're not pretty at all.
Ever.
Usually it's a really gross face.
Yeah.
Like the picture of Tom Cruise's taint from Legend.
Well, that's important to the plot.
His taint does have a huge plot point in there.
Well, the taint plays a major part of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie
Just
stars
take a uniform
Tim
top up
Curry,
his
then
ass.
Tom Cruise, and then Tom Cruise's taint is
Yeah,
number 3.
also listed on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you
Frankie
should check that
Muniz'
out.
twin.
Taint Cruise.
You can find us on iTunes, where you can subscribe to our podcast, rate and review it so we can get lots of gold stars.
For free as fuck.
Yeah, and it's for free, much like waffle fries and chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you
And
go
Dr. Pepper or something.
if you go to Chick-fil-A dressed as a cow on certain days, you get your Chick-fil-A meal for free.
Doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't, but it happens.
Yeah, especially if you go there in August, it's 140 degrees, you die of heat exhaustion before you make it through the fucking
Yeah.
door from the parking lot.
But also, if you go to Chick-fil-A dressed as a gay guy, you don't get any food.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't get any food for free or otherwise.
Or otherwise.
Yeah, they'll pray for you, though.
Yeah. Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
Instead of a chicken sandwich, we're going to give you a prayer.
Yeah. Does that come with waffle fries?
No.
for free?
It comes
Well,
with,
I don't want it then.
It comes
No
with,
waffle fries, no prayer.
It comes with waffle prayer.
Waffle prayer. Is that a better prayer?
Yes.
It sounds delicious.
Spicy waffle prayer.
Sounds like it'd be hard to find, though.
Also, you can check us out on 76th Street Network, where you can find other awesome podcasts like Return of the Living Podcast and what was that other one I've been checking out lately?
Nerds and beer.
Yeah, Nerds and Beer. Nerds and Beer is pretty good. And Dudes and Stuff was on there too. But
Nerds and beer and dudes and stuff.
yeah.
Nice.
I get those four mixed up a lot.
Nerds and stuff, dudes and beer.
Yeah, which still could be. I don't even
They
know
could
if
be
that's-
those two things, yeah.
Yeah, so check that out, and also check out Five Finger Tees for awesome shirts with cool graphics at good prices, as well as,
Your mom.
yes, Philip's mom.
Ask your mom.
Philip's mom.
My mom.
You can find anyone's mom.
Yeah.
We all have a profile on there.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't, because I've never missed the podcast.
Oh, you haven't?
Not since season 1.
He
Okay.
can't miss the podcast because he runs the podcast.
Right, well,
he
he
just
didn't always run the
reschedules.
podcast.
Yeah.
And you can't see the air quotes that he reschedules the podcast.
But you know what? It's not that. It's not that I missed the podcast in season 1. It's Phil just decided to have the podcast.
Yeah,
without
because
me.
I just decided to.
You'd just be like,
I'm doing
hey,
this.
Steve,
I'd be
we're
like-
doing a podcast, by the way, in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Be like, well, I'm 45 minutes away. I can't make that podcast.
That
And
never
you're like,
happened.
oh, well, I guess we're just going to do it without you and have some
Never
creepy
once
guy that lives
happened.
next door come over and do it without you.
That-
Rob.
That never happened.
Remember Rob's laugh?
Yeah,
How
I
did it
do.
go?
I love his laugh though.
It's like the
first
forced
like
laugh
20
of it.
times I heard it, I was like, he's pretending to laugh.
Yeah, it's a robot.
It's a real laugh though. He's Rob the robot.
Yeah. So, Mark, have you been watching anything?
Still watching Game of Thrones, trying to get through 2 seasons so that I can watch the third. I also watched a fairly new stand-up special for Louis C.K. last night. Oh my God, on HBO.
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But what
I
did
saw,
we
I
go?
saw your Facebook.
What do we go see?
Oh no, I haven't made it there yet. You fuck. And we also went and saw Pacific Rim,
Robots versus Aliens.
starring robots, co-starring aliens, and then there are some people in there that you shouldn't give a shit about because it's about giant fucking robots fighting giant fucking aliens. And if any one person ever on the universe says the acting in this movie is shitty, Steven and I are going to come to your house and fuck you in front of your family.
but also starring pretty much half of FX cast.
Yeah.
Like
Charlie Hunnam
and Ron Perlman and Charlie Day.
Yeah, Charlie Day. You know what? Honestly, they could have put anyone else in that movie, and I think it would have actually made it better.
Yeah.
His role as that like crazy doctor. I'm sorry. It's much like Brooke Hogan in Sand Sharks.
Yeah.
Whenever she played the fucking scientist that knew everything about sharks. Charlie Day is about as believable as a scientist as Brooke Hogan is as believable as a fucking scientist.
Yeah.
Charlie Day just looks like a fucking pot smoker.
Yeah,
That's it.
well, and all he does in It's Always Sunny is
It's
just
smoke
screams.
weed.
Well, no, he doesn't even smoke weed. He can't afford weed, so he sniffs glue, and he
Screams.
and he screams, and he eats cat food.
And that's exactly what he does in Pacific Rim. He screams about the aliens and alien brains.
Yeah.
Heard.
That is it. But the movie in and of itself, a lot of fun.
It delivered on everything it promised.
Yes, it is a fun movie. If you want to see an awesome movie with awesome special effects, with really awesome robot fight scenes fighting fucking giant aliens, go see that movie.
Punches.
Yeah, Rocket Power. It's a
And
live action
swords.
anime that's not shitty.
Yeah.
Is exactly what it is.
It's good enough.
What about you, Philip?
I've been watching, I think it's on PBS, but I've been watching it on Amazon, Under the Dome,
Oh yeah,
based on Stephen King's
I
novel.
started. I watched the first episode. I
Not
haven't
PBS,
watched the
CBS.
My bad.
second. PBS.
Son, I don't
Starring
watch-
Elmo and
Fuck you, I don't
Cookie
watch TV.
Monster.
Elmo loves Stephen King.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could bet. And little boys.
Malachi.
That would be 10 times more frightening.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can you imagine?
Puppets of the Corn.
Ooh, Muppets of the Corn.
Yeah.
So nasty. So yeah, that's a good show.
Muppet
I-
Cemetery.
I watched the first episode. I haven't watched the second one yet.
There's a really badass part in the first episode where a cow gets cut directly in half.
Yeah.
Like it's like a cross section of a cow. It's super badass.
Yeah.
It's like in 13 Ghosts. Whenever I think it's Matthew Lillard or somebody else.
No, he
maybe.
gets broken in like.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. It falls.
he
He
gets
like
banged.
smacked on his back or something.
Yeah. He gets baned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, it's
Somebody
that's
gets
pretty
chopped in
damn
half in
cool.
that movie.
Yeah. The special effects were a little lackluster, I thought, in Under the Dome, but it is a made-for-TV show.
I was gonna say it's a TV series. It's better special effects than The Stand.
Yeah. Well, that was like 92 or
Well, I'm
whatever
just
it
saying.
was.
I'm just fucking.
I
saying.
agree, though.
I'm
But
saying is all.
it's kind of got the whole Storm of the Century feel, which I really liked. So it's kind of cool.
The only thing I don't like about adaptations from Stephen King shit to regular television is just how much they have to dumb it down.
Well, the thing
And
is,
also, yeah, they just not dumb it down necessarily, but take out all the parts of it that are like really brutal. Which makes it like that's like the shock value of a.
and
Stephen
it is
King
produced
novel.
by Steven Spielberg, and I believe maybe J.J. Abrams too. No, I think it's just Spielberg.
Yeah.
And but Stephen King definitely agreed with all the changes that were made. He said he was completely in favor of all the changes of that shit. So yeah, but yeah. Like I said, Stephen King was completely cool with all the changes that were made for the show, apparently. So, and that's all you can really ask for. I mean, people may not like it, but if it's okay with the guy who wrote it, then
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, but a lot, I can see that. I can see both sides of the coin on that, though. Because if he's perfectly fine with it, he could be perfectly fine with it because he was okay with how they changed it, or he could be perfectly fine with it because they went, "We'll give you more money if you let us do this." And that's what I think that probably what happened.
I don't think that at all because Stephen King doesn't need any money.
Yeah, well, it's not just that. It's just the fact that I feel like whenever they sign the rights over to it, it's not like they sign them over in bits and pieces. Like they're like, okay, you can have the rights, start making the movie, start writing a screenplay,
Right.
and it's I don't know.
Well, he
Maybe it is.
I'm
something to do
sure
with
he
money,
had
but-
to read. I'm sure he had to read it.
But I feel like a lot of
Okay
authors have
with it.
bitched about how the screenplay turned out on their
Right.
on their reimaginings.
And if this was somebody who was like written one or two good series or something like that, it'd be different. But it's not like Stephen King is hurting for money in
No,
any way,
not at all.
shape, or form.
The dude's one of the few authors in the world who gets paid by the word.
Right. Well, not only that, but I think he's like the only author ever to have more than 50 books on a New York Times best-selling
Oh,
list.
the dude could write the instructions on the back of a fucking shampoo bottle and it would be a bestseller.
Somehow,
Yeah.
It's about a killer lamp.
Yeah, what was that Family Guy?
Yeah. And then when can we get the manuscript?
Yeah, because they know no matter
It
what.
doesn't matter. It's still going to be a bestseller.
Exactly.
So badass.
But yeah, I watched Pacific Rim with Mark. I also watched Super, which I was a really big fan of. It was kind of like a better Kick-Ass, in my opinion.
I
Way
saw
more
that
brutal.
on Netflix or something.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Stars Rainn Wilson. It stars,
Yes, Rainn Wilson.
yeah, it stars Kevin
Sounds
Bacon.
more brutal than
Yes.
Kick-Ass?
Yes. extremely
Holy
way
shit.
more brutal.
And less Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
So that
Because
makes it better
automatically, you want Kick-Ass to be better? Take Nicolas Cage out
Yeah,
of it.
and Kevin Bacon is the villain in it, which is even better. And then you've got Ellen Page, who is absolutely batshit fucking crazy.
I love Ellen Page.
You've got Liv Tyler's in it, who's give or take, and then Nathan Fillion, who I fucking hate anyway, but he does play a funny role, because he's only in it for like maybe 5 minutes. But he plays like this guy who's like Bible man in real life, but he's called the Holy Avenger. Mm. But basically, Rainn Wilson just thinks that, or he loses his wife to Kevin Bacon because she's a drug addict and he just offers her drugs, basically. And she goes to him and he feels like he needs to save her. So he dresses up like a superhero and goes around fighting crime to lead up to like his big thing. And basically goes around anything that anybody does wrong, he caves in their skull with a pipe wrench.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm not talking about like killing people. Like, yeah, he does hit people in the face with a pipe wrench for trying to molest children and like stealing and stuff like that. But
stealing,
yeah. But then like it gets to the point where like he's in line for a movie theater and somebody cuts in front of him and he goes back to it and tells him to fuck off. So he goes back to his car and changes into his outfit. Comes back and tells him to stop cutting. The guy's like, "Who the fuck do you think you're kidding?" And he just caves in his fucking skull and his girlfriend's skull with a pipe wrench.
Oh my god.
It's extremely fucked up.
Yeah,
and Ellen Page and him beat the shit out of somebody for keying her friend's car. Like, it's ridiculous.
A little out of hand.
It's extremely, and not a little. Like,
it really sounds like God Bless America quite a bit.
It reminds me of that a little bit, but it's right there with it. And I really enjoyed God Bless America.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Did you know Jim Carrey's going to be in the
sequel?
Yeah, the
sequel to
to
Kick-Ass.
Have you heard about his Holier Than Thou? I don't want anything to do with the movie shit now.
Yeah, because of the gun violence in the movie. It's like,
yeah.
Maybe it was too much. It's like, you already made the movie. Like,
it's like too late now.
Yeah, well, not only that, but if you're going to do that, wait till you get your money from all the
royalties
movie sales and shit.
Well, I mean, it's not like they can tell him no, he can't have it. He has the right to it. Anyway.
No, but what I'm saying is less people are going to see it because he's
withdrawn his support from
against it. Why not wait until the movie's out and you get all your royalty money and shit from people going to see it before you shit talk the movie and
because then it would be pretty obvious that he was doing it specifically. I mean, like, he was waiting for the money first.
Here's the problem that I have with what he's done. One, he said, "Oh, this movie's incredibly violent, and I filmed it the month before Newtown, and now I just think that the violence is incredibly extreme, and there's violence to children, and I don't agree with it." Well, okay, I can understand that. I can see that. But at the same time, you've already made the movie, all right? It's about to come out, and then he pops and turns around and says these words right here, which contradicts what he just said. "I don't regret making the movie."
Right.
Yes, you do, or you wouldn't pull your fucking support from it.
I'm
sorry, I love Jim Carrey, but it's holier than thou.
Or hand back the fucking $20 million they gave you to do it.
They gave you a shit ton of money. Why don't you go ahead and hand that back and just say, "Here, I'm sorry, I can't have anything to do with this movie." It's
ridiculous.
I mean,
totally silly.
He's just reached that point. And I know somebody that told me once that they got to meet Jim Carrey and they had dinner with him. And he had asked him, he's like, "How come you don't do as many comedy roles as you used to?" And his explanation was actually a decent explanation. He goes, a lot of the comedy that I did back in the 90s, I was real bad off on drugs and stuff at the time. He goes, so I actually kind of correlate my comedy with my drug problem. So he goes, I tend to stay away from it a lot now. I do more serious roles. I can kind of see that, Nothing like a bad trigger to get an addict going again. Right. Like, I feel like playing Ace Ventura. Snort cocaine off hookers' asses.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is about Jim Carrey is he's one of those rare actors that can do a really fucking good serious role and a really good comedic role.
Really, really excellent comedians can do that, though.
Yeah.
Not George Carlin. Robin Williams could do that. Yeah. He could go and be.
Well, Robin Williams started out as a serious actor, though.
Yeah, but he was a stand-up comedian before any of that.
That's true.
So I mean, he just. And I'm not saying he's a fantastic actor as far as like, he should win Oscars. But he's good enough that he could do both.
He can win. Who, Robin Williams or Jim Carrey?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams has won Oscars.
For what?
For, what was it, Good Morning Vietnam?
He may have.
Yeah. He's definitely won an Oscar before. Maybe Good Will Hunting or something like that.
No, you're thinking Dead Poets Society. Wasn't he in that?
Well, yeah. We just looked it up and it was he won for Good Will Hunting. He was also nominated, I'm pretty sure, for Patch Adams And
I think so. I mean, he's been nominated for a bunch of things, but I still, like, when I see him, with the exception of a few roles, I don't see a lot of differences between his characters. Insomnia and
1 Hour Photo.
1 Hour Photo,
Yeah.
total fucking opposite of what you would ever expect Robin Williams to be in.
Yeah.
And I think those roles were better than the ones that he's been nominated for awards for.
Fucking 1 Hour Photo is just terrifying.
Yeah, and there's another movie he's actually getting ready to come out with where he plays FDR. And it looks really good. It's got a...
Didn't he play FDR in the fucking Ben Stiller's shitty Night at the Museum movies?
No, he was Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, so now he's going to play the other one.
Yeah, he's playing FDR in...
The other Roosevelt.
What's that? It's got Forrest Whitaker. It's about the first black butler to ever be in the White House.
Uh-huh.
And it's got, like... The movie's got, like... Terrence Howard and Forrest Whitaker and John Cusack and James Marsden and Robin Williams and Alan Rickman. Like, the list just is like nonstop.
It's a really good cast.
Insanely good cast members. Cuba Gooding Jr.'s in it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great actor, and he just started making shitty movies.
Yeah, he just started making
like.
straight
There's
to
no
DVD
reason.
Steven Seagal
There's no
movies.
fucking reason Cuba Gooding Jr. should have never continued to be a great actor. Like,
Yeah, right.
Do good movies. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened with him because it's not like he went in a transition of being a good actor and is now a shitty actor for some reason. He's just whatever.
He just quit making good movies.
But
Yeah, he started acting in really poor straight to DVD fucking movies. You know who I don't like though, and you're probably going to hate me for this? John Cusack. Don't care for it.
Not a huge fan.
I'm not a big fan. I don't see. Some people are just like, oh, John Cusack.
But John Cusack is like one of those actors that I'm just talking about who can be insanely good in a movie, like Say Anything or what's that movie with the fucking
1408.
Well, 1408 was
good.
pretty good, but the one where he was a killer, the contract killer.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know, but I can't.
I've probably not seen that because I usually see movies with John Cusack and I go, I'm not going to watch.
But then
this.
he's in like The Raven, which he's fucking awful in that movie.
Well, the entire premise of that movie is just shitty.
Yeah, and the one he was in with fucking Morgan Freeman a couple years ago was just awful. The first, it was another contract killer movie. I don't know, but yeah, he's hit or miss for me.
Yeah, we could just not talk about John Cusack now.
Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and get into our movies because we're past my 15-minute talk about random shit point.
Yeah.
But we're gonna, speaking of, we were talking about Holier Than Thou and shit with Jim Carrey. Let's talk about the movies we're doing today. 1978 original Superman movie, as well as its spin-off from 1984, Supergirl, which I had never even fucking heard of before Mark decided to look up shitty superhero movies to do. Honestly, this was my idea, but it was brought upon me by Mark. So I can't give all the credit to Mark for this shitty fucking movie.
No, he can, because he's saying that it was his idea. I said, we haven't done a superhero movie in a while. And I was like, let's find some shitty superhero movies. And I must honestly say, Superman is not shitty. It's dated,
right?
But it's not shitty. Supergirl shouldn't exist.
No.
It shouldn't fucking exist.
No,
like, everyone involved with this movie should just walk right off a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
George put it perfectly when he said it was a fucking tragedy of a movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and George, being the owner of Empire Comics, who we often buy many comics from. So if you're in our area...
He knows what's up.
Yeah, so if you're in our area, check them out. But anyway, Superman was from 1978, which I thought it was actually a little bit later than that, but...
Really? Did you think it was like...
I thought it was early. I thought it was early 80s is what I thought. But it wasn't. It was 1978, directed by Richard Donner, who actually directed all the Lethal Weapon movies. Mm-hmm. He directed The Goonies.
Superman 2.
He directed Superman 2. He directed... what was it? No, not Gremlins 2. A Conspiracy Theory. That was another Mel Gibson.
Radio Flyer.
Radio Flyer, that's what I was thinking of.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah, it is extremely good. He also did... what was that? There's one more big one that I'm thinking of that I really,
really
really
have
like.
this shit together before we start
You'd think so. You'd think I'd give a shit enough, but...
Okay,
I did a lot of...
I'm just gonna fucking...
But that's the funny thing.
Fuck it, I'll edit this out.
Exactly. He did a lot of Twilight Zone, but there was one more big one that he did. That he did Lady Hawk, which we were just talking about. Oh, The Omen. That's what I was thinking of. And he did Scrooged with Bill Murray.
loves
as
Courage.
well. Yeah, so he's
The guy doesn't do terrible movies.
no, he doesn't.
You know?
Maverick with Mel Gibson. He must fucking have a boner for Mel Gibson. Because
But you know who
He
does
most likely
terrible?
does.
But you know who does do terrible movies? The bitch that directed Supergirl. She directed every terrible movie you can think of.
yeah.
Jaws 2.
And
We'll
the
just
cyanide
start
bullet.
there.
Jaws 2 is not as bad as Jaws 4, but
No.
it is really
He
fucking
told me
bad.
yesterday that Jaws 2 was better than Jaws 1.
Totally fucking with him.
I
Totally
like-
fucking with him. I was like,
I
Jaws 2
almost
is way
jumped to the
better.
phone. Like, I was like, fuck you. But anyway,
Jaws 2 is an abomination, but we're not going into that.
we'll go ahead and talk about Superman, starring Christopher Reeve as Superman, Clark Kent, of course, but also a lot of good cameo, or not cameo, but good
Supporting
veteran
actors.
actors. Yeah, like I totally forgot that Marlon Brando played Jor-El. I totally forgot that.
Did you really?
I really did.
Yeah.
And then
It was super funny because when it popped on, I said, look, and Amanda was watching with me. I said, look, The Godfather. She goes, oh my God, before he got all fat and gigantic.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but it's weird because he was much fatter looking in The Godfather than he was in Superman, which was filmed years later.
well, he's the worst looking in Island of Dr. Moreau. I mean,
Oh, God, yeah, he's
like,
dead in it.
He's like fat and wearing a wearing a fucking moo
Yeah,
in that
he's,
movie.
he's straight up like he's the fat lady in that picture you sent me eating that waffle cone.
Yeah.
One-legged troll with her moo hanging off and her tit popping out of her armpit hole. This is the grossest picture I've ever seen in my life.
I got it while driving too. I was just like, BAM! I emerald that shit.
Oh God,
But also starring Gene Hackman as Mr. Luthor.
Mr. Luthor.
God, I hated Otis so
Otis,
goddamn
Ned
much.
Beatty. I think now Paul, is that his son?
Ned Beatty.
Yeah. Or is it Paul Beatty?
No, you're thinking Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany, that's right.
Yeah, who's British.
Awesome. Yeah, he's awesome too.
Yeah, you're thinking Warren Beatty, Dick Tracy.
Yes.
He's 7,000 years old now.
Yeah.
Like he was born before Jesus.
Then we got Jackie Cooper, who's also in this, and then Glenn Ford plays Paul Kent, who I thought at first when I saw Paul Kent, I was like, "Is that fucking guy from the Mighty Ducks?"
Oh
You know,
God
the-
damn it! Yeah,
the
the
pop
pop collar
collar
cocksucker.
Pauly Shore's father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I totally thought it was him at first. He has the same demeanor, but it's not him.
No, his false teeth in this movie are much better than Pauly Shore's son-in-law.
Yeah.
Or father-in-law.
So, of course, you know the story of Superman. If you don't know it, then
You're not American. Get the fuck out.
yeah. You know, it's, of course, Jor-El sends his baby to Earth because Krypton is being destroyed. Basically, it's being destroyed by the Kryptonians themselves, and General Zod tries to warn everybody of that in the beginning. One cool thing that I never even picked up, because I haven't seen this movie since I was like 5 years old, but they start out the first movie knowing that there's going to be a sequel to this movie, and they set up the sequel of this movie before the first movie even starts.
Yeah.
Which is fucking awesome, because in the beginning of this movie, they send Zod packing.
Yeah.
Because Zod's basically wants to take over Krypton, be the leader, and he tells Jor-El, "Hey, me and you, man, we can run this thing."
And of course, he's like, fuck that.
Yeah, Jor-El's like, "You're way too evil to run. You have to go."
Well, he is fucking evil. If you ever watch Superman 2, he's a fucking fuck.
Yeah, and I haven't seen that one in a long time either. But they do a great job, and I did go see Man of Steel. They do a great job retelling the story in Man of Steel. But and Russell Crowe, of course, plays Jor-El in the new Man of Steel. But anyway, they send Kal-El, who's Clark Kent / Superman.
Fun fact, you want to be really angry real quick?
Yeah.
You know what Nicolas Cage named his fucking son?
What?
Kal-El. You may
The
continue.
shitty gothic son?
No, I don't think that's him. I think it's a
Shitty
Yeah,
gothic.
he's got an ugly gothic
dude.
son.
He looks straight up just like he's the lead singer of Mayhem.
Yeah. Like he looks just like poor guitarist for Orgy or something.
Yeah, ooh, immortal.
So the guitarist from Orgy.
Yeah.
Biggest spiky arm things hanging out
Yeah,
with Nicolas Cage.
it's just terrible. So they send him to Earth. Of course, the Kents find him and tell him that he needs to blend in, otherwise people will try and take him away. Blah 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 blah. And they realize that he has a crazy superpowers and blah 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 story of Superman. You know it.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
He meets Lois Lane and
Goes to Metropolis, fights Lex Luthor.
pretty much exactly.
The end.
Gene Hackman playing Lex Luthor, he's super awesome in this fucking movie. Most of his shit is really campy, and you don't really realize how
Evil.
how fucking evil he is
He forgot to get the clip, but he recorded it 75 times. I heard that clip 25 times before he got here.
Way fucking evil.
Super.
But it's not. And the thing is that before that and after that, he's a shitty villain. He really is. He's
kind of a
shitty
comedic villain.
Right.
Yeah,
he's really like, I am the greatest criminal mind. And then when Superman drops his ass in prison at the end of the movie, he just goes, I am the world's greatest criminal mind. You're a really shitty Lex Luthor right now.
Well, but the thing is he did figure out how to kill Superman without even, like, thinking about it.
Which I thought was a plot hole, because he didn't figure it the fuck out. All he did was go, his planet exploded in 1948.
And so he just grabbed the fucking National Geographic off his shelf.
Right, that talks about
here it is.
fucking
It's a
Krypton.
kryptonite.
Yeah, and then he's like, it obviously would kill him. That's how he comes to that conclusion.
That's how smart he is.
Well, not only that, they fucking showed every part of whenever Lois Lane and Superman were talking, whenever he was doing the interview, which is where he got all this information from.
Oh, you mean the interview where there's, like, all the fucking dick jokes and shit like
Lois
that?
Lane wants the throbbing super cock bad.
She wants the Super D so bad.
And how big are you? How tall are you?
About 6'4".
Around.
Yeah.
And then, like, she says something, like, right after that, like...
So, do you eat?
I assume, then, that the rest of your bodily functions are normal?
Sorry, beg your pardon?
Well, putting it delicately, do you eat?
Fuck. Fuck is what she meant to say.
Putting it delicately, can you blow your super load all over my face?
Which would probably kill her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, what? That scene from
like,
Mallrats where Jason Lee's talking about how...
Hancock.
Yeah.
When Hancock, like...
shoots the load through the
trailer.
trailer? Yeah. Just like a shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hilarious.
No, but, yeah. She wanted a super dong. But anyway,
She did.
Go on about the interview, Philip.
Oh, well, yeah. So, all this information that he supposedly got from this interview, they didn't show Superman saying any of that shit.
No.
It's like, oh, his planet exploded in this year, and it's like, you didn't fucking say that at all.
Well, that we saw.
What I'm saying to you is that we saw
We saw
everything.
the entire...
There was never a cutaway where it was like, oh, there was more interview there.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah.
There was the interview with Lois Lane, which all she did was ask, how tall are you? How big's your dong? Do you eat
Do
pussy?
you fuck?
I bet flying is kind of cool. And then off they flew and came back, landed, and then you know what? Superman goes, see you later.
Yeah,
Flies off.
done.
There's
Interview
7
over.
more hours of interview, apparently.
Yeah, apparently they were just interviewing all night long while flying around.
Yeah.
Oh, which, by the way,
they were interviewing.
I fucking hated that scene so goddamn much. I seriously fell asleep during it, I feel like.
But the flying?
The flying was like 30 minutes long.
With her
it was just like with her crazy like,
inner monologue.
poetry to him.
read my
Can you
mind?
hear my thoughts? Can you tell that I'm thinking about banging you later? It's like,
Yeah,
no, you
she-
can't tell.
she
He doesn't
kept-
read minds. It's not one of his superpowers. Also, this scene fucking blows.
She totally was thinking about it, too, because even when Clark came to pick her up, she was like...
Was, at first, really nervous about tonight. But then I decided, well, darn it, I was going to show you the time of your life.
That's Clark, nice.
That's Clark nice.
That's Clark, nice.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about you at all.
You know,
bitch.
like, this movie's incredibly dated.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's an older movie. It's from the late 70s. I mean, it's going on 40 years old.
Yeah.
But I do have to say this. Christopher Reeve as Superman captured Superman for everything that he stood for.
Oh,
he was
super.
perfect.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
No one else could have done it. Christopher Reeve captured Clark Kent exactly how Clark Kent should have been. Super geeky journalist that was clumsy as shit, couldn't talk to girls.
Darn it.
Yeah, gosh darn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Saying
then captured...
fucking swell and
The one thing about what you were saying
Crawling.
about that scene, though, that I did really like and think was really fucking well done was their trip around the Statue of Liberty. Like, the way that they filmed, like, the way they cut the film was they did, of course, a little bit of green screening whenever they showed them with the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
But then they cut to, like, helicopter views of the Statue of Liberty and, like, close-ups and stuff. So it actually... It may have looked... It didn't even look dated. It looked like they were actually flying around the fucking Statue of Liberty, which was really well done, in my opinion.
well, the thing was, I did think that some of that footage was really good, and others of it was really poor.
But it was poor.
Well, some of it was like stock footage from like
Yeah,
old National
it
Geographic.
was.
Yeah,
Some of it was
exactly.
clearly like a way higher quality camera and much more time taken to make sure that the Statue of Liberty is captured in all of its glory. And then other shots were just like extremely blown out. You could barely even see the Statue of Liberty. It was so bright. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. One of my
But
favorite...
yeah, that scene lasted like, it was like 25% of the movie. And I was so fucking sick of it by the end. Huge dick.
every time we do a podcast.
It's gotten to the point where it's getting horribly bad to record podcasts on Sundays.
Right?
Those kids just started playing immediately. You click the record button and just hood rat
What
shit.
is it about like 6 o'clock on a Sunday night where everybody's like, let's go fuck Steven's World up?
Because it's New Albany and they've just finished their afternoon meth.
Yeah.
They've been methed out for the night.
One of my favorite parts in this movie is when Superman figures out where Lex Luthor's hiding. Well, I mean, because it's basically hiding. He's got like an underground layer, basically.
It's
It's an
definitely a
underground
hiding
mansion layer,
Yeah.
which I thought was dumb.
I love the
I'm
swimming
sorry,
pool, though.
stupid. The swimming pool was awesome. Everything else, dumb.
But whenever Superman breaks in...
It's open. Come in. My attorney will be in touch with you about the damage to the door.
God, just sounds like Alec Baldwin.
Dude, it's open. Come in. After he just completely blows the door, the steel door.
Do you know
off
who
the
he
fucking-
is? He's fucking Alec Baldwin from fucking Elizabethtown. He's just such an asshole, sarcastic boss, and he's just like, well, all these pandas and things, we're gonna have to grind them up to sell for meat. What an asshole.
He was so fucking good. And then, like, my attorney is going to contact you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Superman gets this letter.
He gets a fucking subpoena to the fucking Fortress of Solitude, and it's just like, what the fuck is this shit?
What
We're
about
going to take it out to court, though. Like, Gene Hackman's like,
He's
so
like, well, I
you
was
need a
planning
new
to-
door for your underground evil lair.
You know what? The scene that I thought threw the whole movie off, besides the flying around the world and turning time back so it could save Lois Lane.
I can't wait
even
to get to
though
that logic.
Even though the Walkman recording of Jor-El's voice said "Don't fuck with human history," and he did it anyway because he wanted to get his dick wet.
Well, it wasn't just
But
that. I
that
mean, he obviously
scene-
loves Lois Lane.
Yeah, but it's still retarded.
It is.
He flew backwards, which makes time go backwards, apparently. And and which is another plot hole. If he can fly that fast, how the fuck couldn't he not make it to save Lois Lane?
I don't know.
He knew she was in trouble, just taking his sweet ass fucking time.
He didn't Hulkamania it up.
I
man.
have some nerdy,
But no, but what I'm getting-
scientific pseudoscience to explain that.
I
away
don't give a
for
fuck.
you. Oh, fine,
Let's
then.
hear it. I don't even-
No, fuck you. It's
Well,
over
fine,
with.
fuck me.
Fuck me! Fuck you both!
Fuck me!
Okay, I looked at a lot because I was I was confused when I saw it whenever I was like 8, and then I
Yeah,
was
the logic of this
even
part.
way more confused whenever I fucking saw it
And
earlier.
we're talking about the fact of him going around the world so fast that it spins the world backwards on its axis to turn back time.
Yes,
The logic of this. Okay.
right. Well, the explanation that I read that was possibly the most possible, I guess, was that he wasn't flying to change the spin of the Earth. He was actually flying so fast that he was going back in time, and then from his perspective, that made the Earth turn backwards because time was going backwards.
I don't think anybody thought it that fucking through.
I honestly think when they made the movie, they were saying they were Ferris Buellering it. Like, let's go backwards in this car in reverse,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that'll make the miles go away. Like,
It at least makes sense. And they didn't try to say, I mean, it's pretty implied by the simple fact that he's flying around the Earth. When you think about it, how could that have ever made the Earth spin a different way? Like, how could him flying around it do anything to the Earth?
it was like the gravitational pull of him. It's like,
Because he has more gravity than the Earth?
well, apparently so.
No, he
I mean,
doesn't.
well, that's what I'm saying.
What
It's
I'm
like,
saying is that is the explanation that I heard that even makes any sense at all.
yeah, I no. There's just no way that that's what they were thinking. Like, when you watch this,
There's no way
There's
that
no
that's-
fucking way, dude. When you're watching this movie, he's clearly just
Making the Earth
making
spin
the Earth
backwards.
spin just because he's like, oh man, I gotta go really fast. That way the Earth
I'm
spins
sorry,
backwards.
if you turn the blender on reverse, it doesn't unfuck up your food you threw in there. That's just not how it works.
So another argument that I heard was that the argument that I just said was
cheats
complete
this.
bullshit because he goes around the world backwards and then
Right.
it makes time go backwards, whatever, and then he flies the other direction.
Right.
So he's obviously trying to like fast forward at that point.
He went too far back.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs
So it's like-
started popping up. He's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I gotta
So
rewind.
it's pretty obvious that he was in fact having some influence on the actual Earth because
Right.
why would flying the opposite direction cause him to go backwards in time?
yeah.
Or forwards in time, or whatever. It makes no fucking sense.
Because the Earth is then spinning on its axis again.
Because that makes The Earth spinning in either direction makes no difference.
Oh, I know. On time, it doesn't.
No.
What they fail to mention is like spinning the Earth backwards completely like destroy the entire fucking world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just destroy every fucking ecosystem and climate.
The weather would just
fuck.
Yeah, the whole planet would just self-destruct.
Yeah. And that's why Jor-El said, "Don't fucking do it. Don't do it on Marlon Brando. God damn it."
It fucking worked though, so
It did work.
and that's why I looked at Mark and I said, "Man, this movie's pretty good, except for the last 10 minutes of writing."
Yeah.
Well, I thought all the villainous parts were just not villainous to me. It was like his two assistants were possibly the two dumbest people on the planet.
Oh, it was
it's like
1960s Batman villains. Dude.
Yeah.
Why did he send fucking Otis to re-rig a
nuclear weapon?
coordinates to
That's
a
what I
nuclear
was
weapon?
getting to.
It's like, what the fuck is that?
How shitty is our
And
military?
then he was mad when he fucked
that
up.
they'll just leave a fucking nuke.
Just nobody
get out
guarding
and
you.
go,
Yeah.
Nobody. Oh look, there's a woman laying on the ground and her tits are out. Let's go, all of us get around her. It's like, what?
Yeah.
And then the truck driver scene, 12 seconds later, they went and found an entire house, oversized wide-load tractor trailer, dressed up like cowboys, drove over in 10 fucking seconds. It was like, okay, I got
love
a
how he
backup
just had
plan.
it at his disposal.
Oh, well, of course he does. He has tons of mobile homes for some
God
reason.
damn it. Well,
And he also owns the entire West Coast west of California.
yeah.
Or east of California, I should say.
With that, let's go ahead and move on to Supergirl, because it kind of leads into it a little bit. In the beginning of Supergirl, you know, with the talking about like the rapey military police officers and stuff. In the beginning of Supergirl, when she immediately gets to the Earth, and like the first people she encounters are just rapey truck drivers.
Yeah. Rape.
Well, and one of them, of course, is the fucking shitty neighbor from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I don't remember his
Matt
name.
Frewer.
Matt Frewer. He's a piece of shit and everything. It seems like.
He's real creepy
Wasn't he in
looking,
the like the first like 4 or 5 episodes of Walking Dead? Didn't he die of a zombie bite?
No, he was in the Dawn of the Dead remake.
remake.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking.
But you know
did
what?
die of a zombie bite in that.
Steven's like skipping like the first 10.
Yeah, I
15
am, but I
minutes
just want.
It's comedy fucking gold. First off, Peter O'Toole's in it, who's a fantastic actor. Somehow he's still alive.
What was
today.
it? Was he Lawrence of Arabia? Was that no?
And
I don't remember what he was in.
no, there's no need. There's no need. He's not in it enough to care enough. We just need to know 2 key things about it. At the beginning of the movie, he's carrying around a blown glass swirly dildo that turns shit into magical things.
Oh yeah, and we can't fucking leave out the noise, the space noise that it makes.
Generic space noise.
The generic fucking in every space movie ever noise. I'm sorry.
You mean in every space movie that has less than a $5,000 budget?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't want that in my butt.
Well,
the spinning that fast.
of course you don't want it in your butt. It's not actually a dildo. That was just
It might as well
Mark's
be.
crazy description of
That's
it.
what it looks like.
Yeah, it totally does.
Yeah, and Peter O'Toole was in Lawrence of Arabia. That was his
Biggest role.
Biggest role, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and
Lawrence of
then
Arabia.
another thing about him is that at the end of the movie, because he's trapped in that prison for fucking losing the thing, right?
Losing the thing.
The little thing that
The Omegahedron or
yeah,
whatever?
the fuck. Who cares what it is? It's so bad. This movie shouldn't exist. They lose that little thing that controls their fucking climate and everything in the little space station or whatever
Yeah,
they're
it's like
living on.
it's like their power source. They're apparently in inner space, which is another dimension, in other words. And this thing keeps their little city running, gives them air, gives them shelter. It creates everything on their planet,
Yep.
on their little rock thing that they have.
and this dumb shit loses it.
I never really.
Yeah, and Helen Slater plays Kara Zor-El, who Zor-El is brothers with Jor-El.
She's cousins.
So
to
she's
Superman.
Superman's cousin.
Apparently, on the planet Krypton, if your name doesn't rhyme, then you're a fucking piece of shit.
You got L's, and then you've just got Zod.
Yeah, Zod.
Neil before him.
Yeah, Neil before Zod.
But Faye Dunaway plays Selena,
The evil witch.
the evil witch. She doesn't know shit about anything until she gets this little Omega whatever, and then just decides that she's just the almighty witch and can do anything.
Well, I mean, she always wanted to be, but as soon as she gets that, she just automatically, oh, I know exactly what this is, and she can just make magic with it. So, fucking Peter O'Toole is like, oh, here's Supergirl, have this fucking, the most powerful known element to exist, and I'll just give it to you to just play with and make crazy fucking flying dragons and shit.
Yeah.
No. Possibly the least responsible decision anyone's ever made in anything.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is our power source, and I did steal it illegally from, wherever it's supposed to be.
No, he borrowed
He
it.
borrowed it, my bad. And then he just puts it on the ground and kicks it at her. for whatever reason, they never even explain, and then he just gets sucked out the window by the fucking...
Because he's a shitty hippie. Because later on in the movie, he's living in that fucking prison, you know, that Zod lives in, basically. The little cube flying window. It's a Lego window flying through space.
I love that fucking cube.
And Peter O'Toole's in there, and he's just wearing his shitty robe, which all of a sudden is kind of tie-dyed looking, and he has like this half-ass beard going on, and he's starting to look scruffy.
And he's just covered in his own shit.
He was even more of a hippie, but he just doesn't have weed
anymore. And he's drinking some kind of weird shit.
And it just looks like he just walked straight out of Woodstock. He just looks awful.
But yeah, so because of the, you know, Omegahedron being thrown out the window by accident and flying straight at the planet Earth for whatever reason, the fucking, you know, Supergirl decides she's going to go back and get it so that the city won't be destroyed. And it's like, okay, that's fine. 2 seconds ago, fucking Peter O'Toole said that you can't possibly leave this little thing. No one can. And then he's like, except for maybe that convenient ship that's sitting up there that all you have to do is just get in it and it'll fly you directly out of this thing easily.
Yeah.
But first you have to fly past the two swirling anuses that are above the
swirling anuses.
Dude, the special effects in this movie were so fucking poor.
6 years after Superman, the special effects in Superman are better. What about when she crash lands in the big lake or whatever, and then she flies out of her spaceship, bam, wearing the Supergirl outfit?
Yeah.
Where the fuck did she get that?
Yeah, I told Philip there's a tailor underwater.
Yeah.
There was material in the spaceship whenever she sat down in there. But what I'm wondering is, at what point did she go, oh, you know what? I'm bored. I'm on my way to Earth. I don't even know where I'm going or why the ship even has navigation to even get me there. But here I go. Oh, I'm just going to make my own little outfit while I'm on my way there and put my family crest on it. Boom.
No, dude, what about the hippie vision that she has?
Hippie heat vision.
This is
Superman
the worst part of the
can
movie.
Fry a motherfucker with his heat vision.
She can too.
She uses it for two things. To make flowers grow. It's the first thing she does. She prance flies through the sky. She's like, look, I can fly! And just like does ballet in
rainbows
the
and unicorns popping out of her ass.
At this point, Brady just kind of half squints at the TV and she goes, I can't see the wires, but I can see where they're supposed to be.
Because it's that bad.
Oh my
She's
God.
just flying her. Oh, look, I can fly. Oh, look, I can do all the stuff Superman does. But I learned how to do it as soon as I landed.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. And then the first thing she does is makes a flower grow with her hippie heat vision.
Right.
And then she goes and stops rapey Matt Frewer and his rapey friend at the truck stop.
And then, like, the first
Why
thing...
were they so instantaneously raping?
Yeah, and the first thing...
Well, she was hot.
The first
You
thing
just
they...
rape people? Oh, you're hot. I can rape you now.
Yeah.
Truck drivers are rapey.
The first thing they ask him is, and they stop in the middle of the fucking road.
I know. It's like, well, we were delivering this stuff, but we definitely need to rape the fuck out of this bitch.
Why are you doing this?
It's just the way we are.
We're just naturally raping.
And you can hear his creepy fucking voice. That is unmistakable. He has the most creepiest. It's so nasty. Just hear it.
Yeah. And dude,
That's the way we are.
I love the next part because the other dude pulls out a fucking knife and watches her heat ray his knife,
and then still thinks he's gonna fight her.
He's like after she uppercuts this dude through the wall, and then he blasts the knife out of his hand, and then he's like, "Oh, you want to play games, do you?"
And she kicks him in the nuts
as hard as possible.
Like, but after that point,
but even still, they were still both like, well, maybe we can still beat her up, and then she flies away, and she's like, she can fly, and it's like, you weren't at all impressed because she was like blowing at your friend, and he just flew across the fucking planet. Bullshit.
And then lasered your knife into nothingness.
that was the part, yeah, because he throws the knife out of his hand, and then he's just like cracking his knuckles, like, you want to play games?
Like,
fuck that! I leave. You have laser eyes. I'm going home. I'm so sorry. I've made a terrible mistake. I'm going to go turn myself into the police right now. And then just make it to the police station. Yeah, just go straight to the fucking police station. Be like, look, some really hot chick with a really skanky skirt on is flying around shooting laser beams and making flowers grow and kicking my buddy in the balls. Then she lasered my knife and it scared me, so will you please put me in prison because I'm afraid she's going to kick the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
That's how that would go. Because fuck this movie and everyone that had anything to do with this movie.
Well, what about the part where she dresses up like a normal schoolgirl?
She just magically does it. She walks behind a tree and bam, she's wearing a brand new outfit.
Yeah, they don't even try to pretend to explain it. And she's changing clothes. Literally, there's a scene.
She materializes her own clothes.
No, she does, and her hair color changes. She flies out of a window, and her outfit changes as she goes through the window. Yeah. Like it's not.
They
it's
did
not
that
like
in Superman though. When he jumped out of the window,
but he still went behind something.
Yeah.
He still went behind something.
And he also did it whenever he was in the little...
the revolving door.
And you can always imagine that he's just so fast that he just gets dressed and redressed so fast that it's as though he just is continuously falling. You literally see it just change.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
okay, you weren't so fast that you changed really fast. It just materialized.
But when she first goes to the fucking...
Also, where is the fucking hair dye kit that she?
This movie is the cartoon from the 80s Gem. If it fucked Superman's retarded brother.
Yeah. What about when she goes to the school and the dude's reading her file that she created?
My dear Mr. Danvers, I'm writing on behalf of a very special young lady. An orphan? We don't expect to be treated any differently on that account.
But no,
I don't give a fuck.
He doesn't even stop there. Dead. Later, he tells the fucking roommate, he's like, she's an orphan. Don't let her fucking fuck with you. Like, it's like, what? This guy's such a dick.
And then there's an evil witch.
Oh, you're an orphan, huh? Well, fuck you. We know how to deal with orphans in the army.
An evil witch what?
The evil witch dude that works there, knowledgeable.
Oh, yeah, the one that you can't fucking understand the entire fucking movie.
Because he's so British.
Yeah.
And then the shitty witch, the shitty villain, like, it's somehow even campier than Lex Luthor.
Oh, yeah.
Because she just all of a sudden knows that this little fucking Superball
It was like a
found.
fucking episode of Elvira.
It was!
It really was.
It really was.
So poor. And once
again... The bitch had a train in her
Elvira,
house.
Not Elvira, but even campier. And let's go with that shitty show with Clarissa where she's a witch. What's that one?
Ooh, God,
you're
Sabrina.
Sabrina. I was about to say, you're thinking of this Melissa Joan Hart, who is Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah.
But she's also Sabrina, yeah. It's literally that shitty.
Yeah.
It is.
Which was a cartoon comedy, or not a cartoon, but it was like a TV show comedy cartoon.
Sitcom. Yeah, it was
the
real
poorest thing in this entire fucking movie was the end battle where there's just fucking like
the Minotaur
swirling and the floor's opening up and like she has to dodge. She's Supergirl and she's dodging falling rocks.
She can fly and she's standing on uneven ground and so she's like crawling on it to like get along. It's like, you've been flying since you got here.
Yeah.
You know that you can fly.
And then the giant shitty Minotaur puppet, which she starts acting like she's like grabbing her and squeezing her and pulling her.
Oh my god!
And
that
all
was
they
the
do
worst.
is bend the fucking frame of the fucking
Yeah.
They just stretch and bend the frame of the movie.
And it wasn't even that they didn't even try to make it look like the creature's hands were even touching her.
They weren't touching her. They were just.
Well, I mean, they could have put him on top of her, so that you could only see like her torso being twisted or something.
No, they couldn't because it would have made sense.
Yeah. No,
well,
I mean, I'm
so sorry.
They green screened in a picture of her and they're like stretching the picture.
And they just had her stand in place and just pretend that she's being twisted, but she does even a poor job at that.
It's so.
She's going.
And then she's fine.
And then of course Peter O'Toole goes, "Yes, you can." And so
I'm the Lawrence of Arabia.
God damn it,
dude!
Oh,
no.
Man.
Oh yeah, I know what you're thinking.
I'm thinking about that fucking.
She saves the dude that because the witch goes, "Ooh, I'm going to cast a spell on this sexy man and make him fall in love with the first woman he sees,
the gardener,
and that's going to be me." Well, fucks up and he sees fucking Supergirl's alter ego, Linda Kent or whatever.
Linda Lee.
Linda, what the fuck ever.
It's the L's, man.
But then he falls in love with her. So then, of course, the witch lady gets angry. So she starts making things attack him and crap. And Supergirl saves his ass and takes him away on a bumper car shaped like a football player.
Yeah.
Which those were awesome. Lands on a beach and he's like, "Put me down. I'm not grateful at all. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Where's my Linda?" And then a rock falls from the sky
coconut
and hits.
No, it was a rock.
It was it was a coconut. Because she said
breaks
it was
it open and there's fucking coconut milk in there.
I
swear it was a fucking rock.
I thought it was a rock whenever it hit him.
Have you ever seen a coconut before it's cracked open?
Yeah.
It's this big and it weighs like 15
regardless.
pounds.
It would have killed the living daylights out of that guy.
Killed the fuck out of him.
I looked at Mark and I just go, "He's dead.
Yeah.
He's fucking dead."
I made him
in real
rewind
life,
it
people
because he
get killed
missed
by
it.
coconuts all the time.
Yeah.
He missed it, and I was like, "You're gonna need to rewind that and watch it." He goes, "Do I have to?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
It's a
rewinds it.
key
And he goes,
plot point.
"He's fucking dead." And I was like, "No, he's fine."
Well, not only that, but she decides she's going to crack the coconut open and then start like mouth feeding it to him with her fingers. Like, why?
It wasn't even like he wasn't even knocked out though. Like, was he? Like,
Yeah,
he was
he
knocked
clocked
out.
him and knocked him out,
for
but he
how
was
long?
okay for like a minute.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't.
He wasn't really
coma.
Yeah.
And it didn't just fall from the tree. You saw it launch.
Yeah.
It launches through the air and then lands on his head. And he does the stereotypical knockout thing. Like, he gets clocked in the head.
Whoa.
And then, like, 2 seconds later, his eyes roll back and then he falls.
It
would have just been...
The impact of that would have driven your fat fucking ass to the ground. Just dead.
Yeah.
Instantly. Can you imagine that shit in the newspaper? Man killed by coconut, launched by witch. Fucking bullshit.
This
And
is one of the
We're
worst
really only
fucking movies
touching on
I've-
the kind of... I don't know if these are even the worst parts, but...
It doesn't
Because there's
matter.
an awful lot of shitty shit.
It's one of the worst movies
She
I've
doesn't
ever
fight
seen.
anything.
No.
When she's Supergirl,
She never
all she does
actually
is...
fought.
No,
She-
she never
she needed that
fought
dude in the
anything.
nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she
it.
fought the rapists.
At the
That was
beginning.
it.
And she didn't even really fight him. She lasered the eyes, kicked a guy in the balls, and that was the whole fucking fight.
Yeah.
And blew a guy away. That's
She
it.
blew a guy.
Blew a guy. Yeah, she blew a guy. That's what she does at truck stops.
Yeah. Blows rapists.
Then, all she does is run around and save people from nothing. She doesn't fight anything. She didn't even fight the fucking witch lady. She just spun around her like a fucking tornado and made her disappear into another dimension. How come she has cooler powers than Superman, but she sucks more?
Yeah.
How's that possible?
I don't remember Superman fighting anyone either, though. Honestly, he just saved people mostly. I mean, he stopped Lex Luthor by going and getting him and taking him to prison, but he didn't really fight anyone.
This
either.
was during the time period where superheroes were
not
supposed
to
to save people, and that's
Yeah.
it. They weren't really violent.
Which was a really big idea behind Superman, because a lot of the parallels were with him and Jesus. Because
Yeah.
he just, like, births out of the sky, and he's just,
Well,
like,
then
savior.
Then
Yeah,
two
he's
fucking
the
years
savior of
pass.
mankind.
Then 2 fucking years pass, and you get Dolph Lundgren's Punisher, and he just fucking murders everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, even 2 years passes when Superman 2 comes out, and that whole movie is him just beating the dog shit out of Zod and his buddies.
Yeah.
He even bleeds in that movie when he decides to be human for about 10 minutes, and then he throws his magical S at people.
Yeah.
God, the S throwing. Well, we won't get into that. It's
Yeah.
really stupid.
Or will we?
Oh,
Bum, bum, bum.
Superman 2 and 3? Possibly.
And 4?
I can't do 4. I can't do it. But you know what I hate about the Superman movies more than... I've never been a huge Superman fan, but I really enjoy the first 2 movies. I've never been a huge fan of the character because I feel like there's just really nothing that can be done with him. He's totally invulnerable. You know, he can't be stopped, but regular villains think they can fight him. Lex Luthor is a regular guy.
Well,
Yeah,
Lex
he's not
Luthor
even a
never thinks that
supervillain.
he can fight Superman. He always just thinks he can outsmart Superman.
Yeah, and he can't because he has retards for minions.
Yeah, because he decided to hire the dumbest people in New York. Well, Metropolis, I'm sorry.
And then bitch about it.
Yeah.
But Lex Luthor is the villain in every single Superman movie except Superman 2. He's in every one of them. Maybe not as the main villain, but he's in the second one.
And the new, he's not the villain in the... Or he's
And
not
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Yeah, but I mean, just
I
saying
think
the
that's
original
supposed to be
Superman
like
movies.
pre-Lex Luthor, though.
Yeah, well...
It
yeah,
is.
I think so.
Because it's before he even goes to the Daily Planet, because that's at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap things up here. Watch Superman 1 because it's a classic superhero movie, and I think it's probably one of the better superhero movies of all time. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, granted the fact that it's extremely dated.
Yeah, you can't really put them up against these new Marvel movies.
I'd say it's as good as any of the Batman movies with Adam West in it.
Yeah.
Oh, better.
I think it's
Yeah.
probably up there with Batman with Keaton, too.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, that's like when I sat down and watched it today. I watched it with Amanda and I watched it with her little boy Travis. He's about to turn 7, which is about the same time I originally saw this movie. I was like between
Perfect time
5
for
and
him to
7.
watch it.
Yeah, and he sat and watched it. And this is a
When he's
2.5
12, he's
hour
gonna
fucking
hate it.
movie.
Yeah, I can't believe he stayed paying attention to it during that fucking flying scene.
2.5 fucking hours. When the movie's over, I asked him if he liked it, and he said yes. It was a lot of fun. And then he goes, "Oh, it wasn't that long." What? It's 2.5 hours. Like,
Yeah,
for a
it
kid
was
that young,
almost as
he
long as
enjoyed
fun.
it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
And
I
that's
said
the way a
earlier.
movie should be. It should be fun. Who cares how campy and silly it is? If it's fun, awesome. Supergirl, shitty as fuck. Not fun.
Don't watch it.
Just awful. It
Watch
shouldn't
Superman.
fucking
It's
exist.
one of the fucking worst superhero movies ever.
They put this movie out to try to make them. They tried to market a superhero movie to girls. That's what they tried to do.
And
I'm
it made
sorry.
$18 million, which means that it was a complete flop because that was less than its even budget.
Yeah,
And it was a piece of garbage, and it has a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
it's really terrible.
All right, with that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. I'm Steven the Roast Rosenberg with Marcus Sharkitten
Later.
and Fat Collins.
And then-
We'll see you next time.